You can tell him, "I love you 1,000 times." You can whisper it in his ear at midnight, shout it from a mountaintop, or write it in letters that carry your very essence. You can even make those 3 words the supposed foundation of your entire relationship. But what if I told you that all of it might be for nothing? What if the key that unlocks the deepest, most secret chambers of a man's heart isn't love at all? Reflect on that agonizing feeling for a moment. How many times have you said, "I love you," pouring your entire soul into those words, only to feel them bounce off? As if you're speaking a language he understands with his mind, but that fails to penetrate his soul. You see it in his eyes, a flicker of gratitude, maybe affection, but not that visceral connection, that total surrender you crave. You've handed him the key to your soul, and in return, you feel he's only opened the door to the living room. This spiritual ache, this silent tragedy of a connection that never truly connects, is based on a profound misunderstanding of the male psyche, a truth Carl Jung dedicated his life to exploring. And in this video, I will reveal the powerful, almost shockingly simple solution. Before we unlock that, I have to point out that a massive number of you who find this content transformative are not yet subscribed. If that's you, take this single moment to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It's the only way to guarantee you won't miss the psychological keys we share that can change your life. And as we begin this journey together, please press the like button to help this knowledge reach others who are feeling this same pain. I'm also deeply curious to see how far these timeless teachings can travel. So tell me in the comments, what part of the world are you watching from? Let's see the global reach of Jung's wisdom. Now, prepare yourself. The 3 words he is desperately waiting to hear will shatter everything you thought you knew about love, and unlock a devotion you never thought possible. This is where the great misunderstanding begins, the silent tragedy of countless relationships. We believe that men and women speak the same emotional language, but we only use the same dictionary. The words are the same, yes, but their meaning, their weight, their impact is radically different. For years, psychology, sociology, and even evolutionary biology have tried to decipher a code that is not written in any self-help manual, a primary code that defines what a man needs, not to feel loved, but to feel necessary, to feel real. And what if I told you that there are 3 words, and it's not a trick or a cliché, but a psychological concept divided into 3 expressions that completely disable his armor? Words that don't speak to his heart, which already knows that you love him. They speak to his spirit, to his most basic instinct. Words that, when spoken with authenticity, make him feel that his very existence has a purpose, and that that purpose is you. These are not words of affection. They are words of power, but not of your power over him, but of the power that you give to him. A power that paradoxically binds him to you, stronger than any chain. What you are going to discover today is not a seduction technique. It is a map to the hidden architecture of the male mind. A map that will take you to a place where very few women reach. So forget for a moment everything you think you know about love and relationships. Get ready, because the 3 words a man needs to hear to connect with you forever, you probably would never have thought of saying them. And the first of them may even scare you. The problem is that we have built love on a romantic, almost cinematic idea, where the simple declaration of affection is the supreme act. We have been taught that love conquers all, that it is the most powerful force in the universe. And although there is much truth in that, we have ignored a fundamental truth that behavioral psychology has known for decades. For the male brain, love is not the destination, it is the vehicle. The true destination, the port he needs to reach to anchor his commitment and his identity, is respect. And not just any kind of respect, a specific respect that only the most important female figure in his life can grant him. This is where the vital importance of what we are talking about lies. It is not a simple trick to make him love you more. It is about understanding why thousands of relationships that begin with an overwhelming passion end in a silent coexistence, in a kind of emotional truce. They love each other, yes, but they don't admire each other. They live together, but they are not a team. The connection has become functional, not fundamental. He provides, she cares, or any modern variation of those roles. But the fire, that feeling of being indispensable to each other, has been extinguished because she continues to give him love when what he needs to keep the engine of his devotion alive is to feel validated as a man. This lack of understanding is the root of emotional distance. It is the reason why he can spend hours absorbed in his work, in a video game with his friends. It is not always because he doesn't want to be with you. It is because in those other areas, he finds a direct, measurable, and clear form of validation. A success at work is a success. Winning a game is winning. Fixing something makes him feel useful. They are victories that reaffirm his competence and his value in the world. Love, on the other hand, is abstract, ethereal. But when you, his partner, give him a validation as concrete and powerful as the one he gets in those other areas, everything changes. You stop being his personal life, and you become the center of his universe because you offer him something that no one else can. The feeling of being a hero in his own home. The promise I make to you in this content is the following. In the next few minutes, I will not only reveal what these 3 key phrases or concepts are, but I will also break down the exact psychology behind each one of them. You will understand why they work on an almost neurological level, when is the perfect time to use them without them sounding forced, and most importantly, how to make them come from an authentic feeling so that they are never, ever perceived as manipulation. We are going to dismantle the engine of the male psyche and understand the pieces that make it work. Because once you understand the mechanics, you stop taking shots in the dark, hoping that something will work. You start to operate with the precision of an emotional surgeon, creating a connection so strong and so deep that the idea of seeking validation elsewhere or in another person becomes simply unthinkable for him. Get ready, because the first key is about to be revealed. To understand the first key, we first have to travel to the deepest and oldest place in the male mind. Forget for a moment the modern man with his cell phone, his responsibilities, and his complicated life. Go further back. Think of man as a tribal creature, a being whose identity and value for thousands of years were not measured by how much love he received, but by how useful he was to his tribe, his ability to hunt, to protect the fire, to defend the perimeter of the cave from the nocturnal predator. His value was directly proportional to his ability to be a shield, to be the one who solved problems. Inner pie. Word, to be a hero. This instinct, this hero gene has not disappeared. It is latent, asleep, under layers of civilization and political correctness, but it is still there. It is the silent engine that drives him. A man longs, on a level that he often doesn't even understand himself, to be the hero of his own story. And the most important story of his life, the one that really defines him, is the one he shares with you. He needs to be your hero. And here, right here, is where the conflict begins. The great paradox of 21st century relationships. You, as a woman, are strong, capable, independent. You have been taught, and rightly so, that you don't need a man to save you. You can solve your own problems, open your own jars, assemble your own furniture, and kill your own spiders. You are self-sufficient, and that is an incredible achievement. But in that constant demonstration of self-sufficiency, without realizing it, you have been sending a devastating message to his most primal instinct. The message is, I don't need you. Every time you refuse his help with a calm, I can do it. Every time you downplay a problem he offers to solve. Every time you take control of a situation in which he could have been the protector. What he doesn't hear is, my woman is strong. What his instinct hears in an icy whisper is, you are not useful here. There are no dragons to slay here. My hero is not necessary. And a man who does not feel necessary in his own relationship is a man who begins to wither inside. He begins to look for other kingdoms where he can be a hero. He immerses himself in work where his successes are recognized. He obsesses over a sport where his competence is applauded, or, in the worst case, he looks for a damsel in distress somewhere else who does make him feel indispensable. We are not talking about you becoming a weak or helpless woman. That would be an insult to your intelligence and your nature. The secret, the true emotional mastery, is not in needing him, but in choosing him. It is being fully capable of everything, but still creating the space for him to exercise his protective instinct. Understanding that sometimes letting him help you is not a sign of your weakness, but a proof of your emotional intelligence. It is a gift you give him, a gift that nourishes his soul and, as a consequence, strengthens his devotion to you in a way that "I love you" could never achieve. The first key phrase, the first key is precisely the antidote to this modern poison. It is the phrase that allows you to maintain all your strength and at the same time crown him as the hero he desperately needs to be for you. Now that we understand the emotional battlefield, it's time to unveil the arsenal. The three keys are not magic words. They are tools of psychological precision. Each one is designed to nurture a specific part of the male soul that "I love you" alone cannot reach. The first key, the vote of confidence. The phrase is simple, direct, and terrifying. For many, "I trust you." Not said lightly, not as a casual comment. This phrase has its maximum power in two key scenarios: when he is about to make an important decision that affects you both, or when you find yourself in a moment of maximum vulnerability. Imagine you are deciding on an investment, a move, or how to handle a complex family problem. Your instinct might be to intervene, to give your opinion, to make sure every detail is controlled. But instead of that, you look him in the eyes and say, "Listen, I know it's complicated, but I trust you. Do what you think is best." In that instant, you have done something miraculous. You have ceased to be his co-pilot to become the queen who trusts her king. You have transferred the power to him, not out of weakness, but as a conscious choice. You are communicating. "I see you. I see your ability, your intelligence, your integrity, and they are so great that I put my own well-being in your hands without fear." This goes beyond love. It is the ultimate expression of respect. It activates his leadership instinct and his sense of responsibility in a way that makes him want to move mountains, not to disappoint you. The second key, the emotional sanctuary. If the first key is delivered before the battle, this one is offered right after. The phrase is, "I feel safe with you." Pronounce it in a whisper after a long hug, while you are snuggled on the sofa watching a movie, or in the calm that follows physical intimacy. This phrase is the definitive balm for the biggest secret male wound, the fear of being insufficient. A man lives under the constant pressure of having to protect, provide, and be strong. His greatest terror is failing in that mission. When you tell him, "I feel safe with you," you are not evaluating his performance. It's not a "thank you for protecting me." It is a declaration about the state of your soul when he is near. You are telling him that his mere presence, his essence, is a refuge for you, that the world can be chaos, but next to him, you are at peace. This is infinitely more powerful than "you make me happy." Happiness is a state of mind. Safety is a state of being. By telling him this, you validate his most fundamental masculine purpose. You turn him into your harbor, your anchor. And a man who knows he is his woman's sanctuary is a man who will never feel the need to go to war somewhere else. He has already found his most sacred mission. But if you thought that was powerful, the third key is what separates women who are loved from women who are revered. The third key, the mirror of greatness. This is the most subtle and the one that requires the most emotional intelligence on your part. The phrase is, "I admire you for," and here comes the crucial part, something brutally specific. The generic "I admire you" is like empty sugar, sweet but without nutrients. It means nothing. But specific admiration is everything. I admire you for the infinite patience you had with your boss on the phone today. I admire you for how you were able to fix that. I wouldn't have even known where to start. I admire you for the discipline you have to go to the gym, even when you're exhausted. When you are specific, you show him three devastatingly powerful things. First, that you pay attention to him. You're not just there. You see him in the details. Second, that you value his effort, not just his results. You acknowledge the struggle, not just the victory. And third, that you reflect a version of himself that perhaps even he had not recognized. You become the mirror that shows him his own greatness. Men receive very few genuine compliments in their lives. They are used to criticism and demands. When you become the voice that not only loves him, but also admires him in an intelligent and detailed way, you become addictive. You are the only person who reminds him how extraordinary he is. And that validation is the most potent aphrodisiac that exists. And this is where everything changes. This is where the fog lifts, and the map I promised you reveals its final destination. We've talked about instincts, about psychology, about the 3 keys. But all of this converges on a truth so simple and yet so profound that it has remained hidden in plain sight. We have spent years, decades, entire generations trying to build the edifice of eternal love using the wrong tool. We have focused on giving love, expressing love, demonstrating love, without realizing that we were decorating the walls of a house with broken foundations. Because the great revelation, the turning point that changes everything, is this: for a man, love is the result, not the requirement. He doesn't fall in love with the woman who tells him she loves him. He falls madly in love, becomes unconditionally loyal to the woman who makes him feel proud of who he is. Think about the 3 keys I've given you. I trust you. I feel safe with you. I admire you for this. None of these phrases are about your feelings. They are not an I love you, an I need you, or an I want you. They are all a mirror. They are a you are. You are trustworthy. You are my protector. You are admirable. And I love you is a gift that you give him. The 3 keys are the recognition of the man he already is. And that is a cataclysmic difference. This is where the bomb explodes. An I love you speaks to his heart. Yes, but an I trust you speaks to his soul. The first phrase makes him feel loved. The second makes him feel that he is a man. And a man, and I want you to burn this into your memory, a man will stay forever, will fight until the end, and will move heaven and earth for the place, for the one person in the world who makes him feel like a real man. You are giving him something that neither his work, nor his money, nor his friends can give him. You are giving him the validation of his masculine identity through the only eyes that truly matter to him, yours. You are uniting his life's purpose with his love life, his mission to be competent, to be a protector, to be admirable. It is no longer something he pursues outside the home to then come back and receive your love as a reward. Now the mission is you. Protecting you, earning your trust, and deserving your admiration is the victory. You have fused his need for purpose with his love for you. And that is checkmate. That is creating a bond that simple chemistry or affection cannot break. Because you haven't just captured his heart. You have conquered his spirit. And his spirit, unlike the heart, is not fickle. Once it finds its anchor, it never lets go. Understanding this is like receiving the key to immense power. And like all power, it comes with great responsibility. It's not about memorizing a script and repeating it like a parrot. That would be an insult to your intelligence and to his. It's about a complete recalibration of your way of seeing and communicating. It is a paradigm shift, and as such, it requires practice, authenticity, and above all, intention. So, how do we apply this knowledge in the real world without it sounding fake, forced, or manipulative? First, what you should do: become an observer, a detective of his virtues. Spend the next few days not looking for his flaws, which is what the brain does by default, but actively looking for evidence of his competence, his integrity, his effort. Observe the patience he has in traffic, the kindness with which he treats the waiter, the concentration with which he tries to fix something at home, the way he listens to a friend. Our daily life is full of small acts of anonymous heroism. Your job is to start seeing them, and once you see them and truly feel them, the words will come out on their own. The key is that the feeling of admiration, trust, or security must be genuine. The words are just the vehicle for that feeling. The real work is to cultivate the feeling first. Now, the most important thing, what you must avoid at all costs. First, avoid manipulation. Men have an incredibly sensitive radar for inauthenticity. If you use an "I trust you" to get something or an "I admire you" right before asking for a favor, he will know. Not on a conscious level perhaps, but he will feel a dissonance. Something won't fit, and the effect will be the opposite of what was intended. He will put up his walls. Second, avoid repetition. These phrases are like a wine from an exceptional vintage. Their power lies in their quality and in their special occasion, not in their quantity. If you tell him, "I feel safe with you" 3 times a day, within a week it will have become background noise, as empty as an automatic "good morning." Use them at key moments when the emotional weight of the context gives them their true power. And third, avoid contradiction. You can't tell him, "I trust you," and then check his phone or question every one of his decisions. You can't tell him, "I admire you for your discipline," and then complain that he spends time on his projects. Your actions must be the echo of your words. Congruence is the basis of trust. When you integrate this, when you move from theory to authentic practice, the deep change happens. The relationship evolves. You go from being his girlfriend or his wife, labels that are sometimes associated with passion, but also with drama or demands, to becoming his life partner, his ally, his safe harbor. And this is a position from which there is no retreat. The connection is no longer based solely on chemistry, which is volatile and changes over time, and begins to be cemented in mutual respect and recognition that are solid as a rock. He will no longer be with you just because he loves you. He will be with you because with you, he is his best version. And that is the secret of unwavering loyalty. It is not a contract. It is not an obligation. It is the logical and natural conclusion of a man who has finally found the place where his soul can both rest and fly. At this point, it is easy to think that this is all a complex strategy, an instruction manual for the male heart. But if you only take away the technique, you will be missing the soul of the message, because what we have broken down today goes far beyond a simple communication tactic. It is, in essence, an invitation to practice a higher, more conscious, and ultimately much more powerful form of love. Almost all the love stories we have been told begin and end with butterflies in the stomach. That electric feeling, that undeniable chemistry, that urgency to be with the other is a wonderful feeling, the initial fire that sets everything in motion. But butterflies, by their very nature, do not live forever. They are the prelude to love, not love itself. True love, the one that survives the storms, the one that grows stronger with the scars of time, begins exactly where the butterflies take flight. It begins when you choose to love not just the feeling that person gives you, but the person in their entirety, especially in the moments when it is not easy to do so. To love a man in his deepest form is not just to enjoy his strength. It is to understand and embrace his fragility. It is to understand that behind the man who wants to be your hero, there is often a child who is afraid of not being good enough. It is to know that his silence is not always distance, but sometimes a labyrinth in which he himself is lost and does not know how to ask for help. It is having the ability to see beyond the armor he presents to the world and recognize the man inside with his doubts, his fears, and his dreams. This is where your true power lies. Not the power to manipulate, but the power to build. The power to be a lighthouse instead of a judge. A judge sits and evaluates past performance, issuing a verdict. A lighthouse stands firm in the darkness. It does not judge the ship that has gone astray. It simply shows it the safe way home with its light. To be his. Lighthouse is to believe in his ability to navigate the storm. It is to remind him of the direction when he is lost. And the 3 keys we have seen today, trust, security, and admiration, are nothing more than the beams of light from that lighthouse. Because in the end, loving a man is not just feeling butterflies. That is falling in love with the sensation he gives you. Real love, the kind that builds legacies and transcends time, is falling in love with his soul. It is seeing it, even when he himself is blind to it, and having the courage and generosity to reflect it back to him with your words, your silences, and your actions, over and over again, until he too can see it. That is the greatest gift you can give him. And it is also the greatest testimony to the extraordinary woman you are. And so, you've journeyed to the heart of the labyrinth. You have dismantled the engine of desire and connection, and now you stand at a profound crossroads. The question is no longer about him. It is, and always was, about you and the power you choose to wield. Before you lies the wide, easy path, the one everyone takes, littered with well-intentioned I love yous that fade into misunderstanding. But you didn't come this far to walk the common path. You came for the second path, the steeper, more conscious path that demands courage, wisdom, and the revolutionary act of learning the secret language of his soul. You now possess the keys. You understand that love is not the requirement, but the result. By choosing to offer trust, security, and admiration, you are no longer just speaking to his heart. You are speaking the very language of his spirit. Thank you for having the courage to take this journey. Wield this knowledge with authenticity, and you will build a bond so unbreakable, he will never have ears for anyone else. If this profound shift resonated with you, and you are ready to continue mastering this powerful form of connection, ensure you are subscribed to this channel. A vast number of you who watch are not subscribed, and you are missing out on essential wisdom. Hit subscribe now and press the like button to help this message find others who need it. And for my final question, based on what you've learned today, comment below with the one word that you now understand is more powerful than love. Your answer will show me you've truly grasped this lesson. Until next time, continue to speak the language of the soul. I'll see you in the next video.